Okay, hey friends, it is Jasmine from Beauty in the Network, and today I am giving you 3 tips on how you can start booking brides a little bit more seamlessly for your hair and makeup business. Now, like I said, I'm going to be talking about 3 main tips. 2 of the tips are going to be on marketing, and one of the tips is going to be on how you can create a seamless sales process for your hair and makeup business. So let's go ahead and get on into the 2 marketing tips. I'm actually going to be starting off by talking about active marketing. This can also be called short form marketing because when it comes to marketing, you eventually want to have a long term and a short term approach, and that is what active marketing is. So, my active marketing is more so my Instagram, my Facebook. Whenever I get in Facebook groups, if I want to do that, that is when I am actively showing up, actively getting in my stories, actively going live, actively posting, actively, making myself known in those Facebook groups, right? Now, the reason why you want to focus on active is because these are things that can happen, right now. You can get in your Instagram stories, you can tell someone, hey, we are booking currently for summer 2024. Here's a few photos of our brides from this past season. If you want to know a little bit more about our, insert your aesthetic, our natural glam, our full glam, our, over the top bridal beauty experience, then here's how you can connect. So I already mentioned a few tips that I want to share with you when it comes to active marketing, and that's the 3 C's. And the 3 C's are clear, it is consistent, and it is call to action. You want to have clear images, so that means a clear background. You don't have any kind of clutter in the background. Also, clear lighting, right? Now, today my lighting isn't the best because we have some issues going on with my filming, but that's okay. This is as clear as it can get for today. But you want to have all of these things very clear, because anything that's going to be in the background that's going to, distract someone's eye, if it's in not so great lighting, people can't really see the detail of your work, especially when it comes to makeup and hair. So you definitely want to have clear lighting, clear background. Now, the second thing is consistent. You want to be very consistent about the styles that you are creating or the aesthetic that you are trying to showcase. And the reason for this is because consistency is the key, right? So, for example, let's say you have a bride, one bride, she wants an over the top wedding. She wants a ball gown. She wants, a very elegant, updo. She wants the Kim Kardashian makeup. She wants chandeliers. She wants floral arrangements. She wants the whole shebang. And this bride, she has to choose between 2 different wedding planners. One wedding planner is showing all the extravagant venues that she's worked at, plus the decor that she and her team has created. And there's another wedding planner who also does some amazing work, but she typically works with brides who are getting married in barns or modern type industrial venues, right? So they both have amazing work, but who do you think that bride is going to gravitate towards more? The one who is showcasing the aesthetic that she aligns with. So you want to take the same approach when it comes to the type of bridal beauty work that you are presenting, so that a bride who wants natural glam, she isn't getting thrown off by that retro glam or that gothic look that you have on your profile. So that she knows, in an instant, like, okay, this is someone who I need to reach out with. So you definitely want to have consistent work that is aligned with the type of brides that you want to work with. And the next thing is call to action. Now, your call to action needs to be very cohesive in what you are saying, right? This is also called your marketing message, right? Your marketing message aligns with your aesthetic and the type of bride that you want to attract. So for my bridal beauty business, since my team and I, we specialize in soft glam for brides in their bridal party, plus effortless and romantic hairstyles, we like to say, if you want to look like your very best self on your wedding day, and you want to make sure that your authentic vision is presented and showcase how you always want to be remembered, make sure that you connect with us, because we're booking for, summer 2024 dates. To connect with us, use the link in our bio to submit an inquiry form for rates and availability, right? I'm telling them exactly where to go. This is a huge part of your customer journey. If you don't know anything about customer journey, think about what is the journey that a bride is going to potentially go through when they are basically finding out that your brand exists? How do they go from not knowing your brand exists to finding your brand on social media or wherever they are at to piquing their interest, like, okay, this person does definitely have a style that's aligned with mine, to, okay, I need to go ahead and reach out. I need to fill out this contact form. I need to send them an email. I need to do XYZ, to them getting in your sales process or your sales funnel and them experiencing a proposal or a quote, or you getting on the phone with them and them booking your service, right? You need to have that process very buttoned up, because if you're just winging it and not really knowing what's going on, it can get very, very overwhelming, especially if you have an influx of brides messaging you all at once, right? So definitely be very consistent and cohesive in the verbiage that you are using. And one of the ways that you can do this is by having consultation calls. And I'm going to talk about that when it comes to your sales process. So hold tight, okay? Now let's talk a little bit about your passive ways of marketing. So we talked about active. This is things that you are actively doing. You need to be very clear in the images that you're posting on social media. You need to be consistent in the type of style or aesthetic that you're posting, and you need to have a cohesive call to action that matches your aesthetic, okay? And you need to let them know where to go, okay, to start that journey to becoming one of your potential clients. Now, the second part, when it comes to passive, we use both in my bridal team. And when it comes to passive, here are some of the ways that I use it. I use it with my blog, I use it with my website, I use it with Pinterest, and I also use it with my relationship strategies. Now, I love to merge both of these. And some of the passive mechanisms that I use to help me attract my brides, they are cyclical, right? So it means I kind of go in a rotational calendar period, but I do not do this year round. I kind of do it during the peak seasons where it's going to benefit me most. So for example, right now it's October, and I want to make sure that our website is getting boosted in the Google algorithm, kind of like the Instagram algorithm. I'll give you an example, but I want to make sure that my website is getting boosted in the Google algorithm, so that way when those brides who are getting engaged right now, when they go and type in, Charleston wedding hair and makeup, soft glam in Charlotte, any of the servicing locations that my team and I service, we service 4 states, and some of the popular cities there, that I want my business page to pop up. So here's an example, kind of using Instagram as an example. So on Instagram, let's say you and your friend, you both do bridal. Now let's say you post every 2 months, and let's say your friend posts every 3 days on Instagram. Now let's say you're both using the same hashtag. Maybe that hashtag is Dallas, Texas soft glam bridal, right? Now you're both using the same hashtag. Now let's say a bride right now, she goes and she types in, Dallas, Texas soft glam bridal. Whose profile or whose images do you think is going to show up first? Your friends who is posting, 3 times a week, or yours who where you post, maybe every blue moon or when you remember, right? It's going to be your friend, right? Because their post is going to be at the top of that hashtag, and it's going to be seen before yours, which might be all the way down here, right? So relevancy is going to be the key on Instagram and for your website, okay? And the way that we like to keep relevance on our website is through our blog. So blogging, updating our images, making sure that our SEO is still, highly searchable. But the way that I like to utilize my blog is if there are brides whose photographer shares their gallery, I want to make sure that I turn that gallery into a blog post, right? This is the easiest way to boost your SEO, because you can name all of those pictures something that's going to be searched by your bride, right? You want to have SEO that is going to be searched by your bride. Don't name your SEO, or don't pick a keyword that only you think brides are going to search. It needs to be the term that brides are going to search. And I'll tell you a little bit more about how you can actually do this when I come to your sales process. So we utilize our blog because I want to make sure that whenever we get into, heavy engagement season, that when people are searching for us, that we are popping up at the top or as close to the top that we can get by being relevant on updating our website. So the next thing is Pinterest. Pinterest is basically linked to our blog. So I'm not creating Pinterest content and blog content and Instagram content. I'm basically taking one big piece of content, breaking it down, and spreading it apart, right? So, for example, I have a package that's called the Southern Charm package, and that includes a wedding day hair and makeup plus a trial run. So, I will always talk about our content over on my Brighter Beauty page on Instagram in a very intentional way. I kind of go through service awareness, brand awareness, and sales content. So when it comes to service awareness, I like to talk a little bit about my packages, right? Because that's my service. So I like to talk about the experience within my services. So when I talk about my trial run experience, I talk about my Southern Charm package. So that is a little snippet for my Instagram post. Here are some things that you can experience in our trial run experience, and right? So we have that for our Instagram post, but the bigger post is our blog. And the blog is all about our Southern Charm package that talks about wedding day hair and makeup. It talks about the trial run experience and a couple of other things, right? So I'm not creating a blog post and then creating an Instagram post and creating a Pinterest post. I'm taking that one main piece of big content and I'm breaking it down and I'm spreading it through different locations. So I create one piece of content once and then I break it down and then I distribute. Okay, so I have my blog posts over on our website, and then I also have like a little Pinterest pin that I can create over in Canva. And this Pinterest pin can say something like, "Here's what you need to know for your 2024 bridal trial run," or "Here's 3 tips when it comes to booking your trial run," or "3 essentials that you need when it comes to your trial run experience," right? So I can create this pin, and when a bride searches on Pinterest, Charleston, South Carolina, wedding hair and makeup, since we've used that tag on Pinterest and our website and other locations, when they search it, they can find our pin and they can click on our pin, and that pin can take them to our website, right? To that blog post, right? So we want to be very intentional, right? So that's how I utilize Pinterest, my blog, and my website all in one, also with Instagram. Okay, so that's blog, website, Pinterest. Now let me talk a little bit about relationships, because relationships, I feel like, are so underrated when it comes to attracting clients. This is not your average referral strategy. Okay, this is something that's very intentional, and this is something that I do quarterly. So I do have someone who helps me manage my social media, and when they are managing my social media, they are also managing my relationships. And the reason why they manage my relationships and I don't necessarily manage my relationships is because, as CEO of your bridal beauty business, you want to make sure that you are spending your time in the most important high value tasks that you can be doing in your business. And for me right now, that is client attraction, right? So that's client attraction. So that means I'm jumping on phone calls. That means I'm updating proposals. That means I am talking to potential brides and so on, right? So I have myself in that main money making activity so that somebody else can focus on the smaller tasks, right? The smaller tasks are still very important, but I can outsource this to someone else so that I can now gain back time and use that time in a more intentional area that I can use my expertise in. So when I am utilizing my relationship strategy, I literally have my social media assistant basically go and connect with specific, profiles every single quarter. Right now, this is a little bit more in detail of how I use the strategy. That can be a whole Instagram video. If you want to know any details on how I use Instagram for my video, my business, how I use relationship approach for my Brighter Beauty team, then just leave it down below. And if I get a lot of people who are interested in it, then I'll make another video on it. So just let me know down below, and I'll be very excited to create any type of content that you would like. So that's what I do when it comes to my relationship management. And it's also a huge reason why I was able to move from Charleston to where I am now. I'm closer to Charlotte, North Carolina. So I was able to move because I honed in on relationships from a introverted extrovert position, right? So I had a lot of time on my hands and I didn't really have a lot of money in the beginning. So I basically connected with a lot of people and I found out a way to connect and how I should not connect. And I basically doubled down on what was working. And I basically had several venues basically recommend their brides to me so much that we moved across state, and I expanded my team. So definitely figure out what your strengths are and lean into that. I also like to connect with our competition. I don't really like to use word competition, but basically our competitors. So other bridal hair and makeup artists that are in your location, do not be that girl, do not be that guy, and you're like, I see everybody as competition. Friend, that means you are never going to get the full amount of the pie that you are going to get because you are so in your own world and you think that there is, a limited amount of bookings in the world. There are so many people in this world, friend. And just because your competition is booking, left and right, that doesn't mean that you can't take their overflow. It doesn't mean that you can't, create your own style, your own aesthetic of people who gravitate to your signature look, right? You need to figure out how to expand the name of your brand, and the way that we do this is by connecting, is by creating relationships. So I started to basically, when I moved to this area, I started to connect with a lot of the girls who have bridal hair and makeup businesses, along with team owners, and basically said like, hey, I'm Jasmine, I'm new to the area, this is going to be my servicing market, I see you also have a similar aesthetic, and I would love to put you on my referral list in case we're booked for a date. Is that okay with you? You reaching out and letting them know, hey, I want to put you on my referral list because I love your work. Is that okay with you? Obviously, if they are booked for a gig and their team is booked for a gig, who do you think that they're going to say, hey, we're booked, sorry, bride, but you can actually reach out to Sally does hair or Jasmine does makeup or, insert Bridality team there, right? So do not be so closed off and stuck in a limited mindset that you close opportunities for how you can increase your bank account. Okay. So I connect with my competition, and those are some of the passive ways and some of the active ways that I have multiple bookings coming into my business. And the reason why I wanted to share this first is because I don't want people to only just focus on Instagram, because Instagram gets hacked, your profile can get hacked. And what are you going to do if you want to go on a vacation and you want to take a 2-week social media break? If you're only focusing on Instagram, that could be detrimental to your business versus having multiple doorways where brides are coming to your business from Google, from your blog, from Pinterest, from that wedding planner that you like, from that past client that you like, from other Bridal Beauty pros who are already booked on dates. That can be a huge influx to your Bridal Beauty business. And then Instagram can just be an icing on top, right? So that's actually how our businesses work, because Instagram is a little bit lower on our tier level, because we get so many from our vendors, from Google, from our blog, and so on, right? So let's talk a little bit about your sales process. So when it comes to your sales process, the first thing that I want to talk about is sales calls. Now, you don't have to call it a sales call. You can call it like a bridal beauty compatibility call, but whatever you call it, be consistent in what you call it. Be consistent in what you call it. If you if you want to invite a bride on a compatibility, beauty call, say, hey, here is a link to my Bride Beauty compatibility call. This is where we're going to see if we're compatible. I want to know a little bit more about your style. I'm going to talk about logistics and see if you have any questions that I can help you with. The reason why I recommend new Bride Beauty pros getting on phone calls, as many as you can, is because If you do not know how to market, if you still need help on your verbiage, getting on calls is going to be the easiest way to start elevating your verbiage, right? And the reason for it is because one, you want to start asking brides, like, how would you describe the look that you're wanting when it comes to your makeup, when it comes to your hair, and listen to those descriptive words that they are using. Like for us, I already mentioned it, but brides are saying, like, I don't want to look overly done. I just want to look like myself, but bridal. I want to look like me, but elevated, like 2.0 me, you know? You want to use the same exact verbiage in your website, in your posts, in your content, every single where that you are showing up, because the more consistent and descriptive words that you can start collecting in a little notebook, this is going to elevate your business so much because other brides are also going to align with that. They're going to say, oh my gosh, they get me. They're using the verbiage that I like to use, and they're describing exactly what I want, right? So be very on top of trying to book these calls, but make sure that you keep calling them the same thing. I once worked with someone, they were actually a photographer, and they were calling their calls a discovery call versus like, let's have a, a branding powwow session. Let's have a family session planning call. Let's have a business, brain dump call, whatever it is. If you are calling things, a compatibility call, then a discovery call, then a this type of call, then a that type of call, they're going to get confused. Stick with the same verbiage, okay? So that is number one when it comes to your sales process. Now, the second thing when it comes to your process, you definitely want to go ahead and check out the HoneyBook video that I created last week. I'll try and link it down below in my show notes. But I was basically talking a little bit about, creating proposals, my welcome flow, my automated email that I use in my HoneyBook. And this is definitely going to help you hand in hand if you want to really have a seamless booking experience when it comes to your brides. So when it comes to your process, what I tell people is, get some sticky notes, right? So get some sticky notes and, lay them out on your wall. My husband knows, like, when he comes in the house and I got sticky notes and tape and color-coded markers everywhere, he knows, leave me alone. I'm doing something serious, okay? So I have my color-coded sticky notes and I basically map out what my client journey is going to look like. So I ask myself, what's going to happen at this step? When they inquire with me, what's the email that's going to go out? What details do I need to collect? What information do I need to know? Okay, when I move to this step, okay, what do I need to know here? Okay, when I get on the call, what questions do I need to ask on this call? Okay, whenever I update their proposal, what needs to be in the proposal? How can I map that out? Okay, this is what I'm going to include. Okay, when someone books me, here is what needs to happen right after so that everything can be very streamlined and very cohesive and a amazing experience for my client. Use those sticky notes and map it out, okay? And then go and try and create your process. A lot of people, they just try and create from, let me just create some stuff, but they're not mapping it out. You want to be very intentional about what you're doing because a bride doesn't want to get asked the same questions over and over again. She doesn't want to have to fill the same thing with the same information over and over again because she's messaging the planner, the venue, the caterer, the photographer, the videographer, everybody. And if you are someone who is causing her to be in her back end longer than she needs to be, like in her emails longer than she needs to be, she might not have a great experience. And I actually used HoneyBook to create a survey. I talked about this in my other video on HoneyBook, how to use HoneyBook for Bridal Beauty Hair and Makeup Pros. And I created a survey using the questionnaire form, and I surveyed my past clients, and I also surveyed brides who did not book me because I wanted to see how can I improve? Where are my gaps? Where are my inefficiencies? How can I elevate? And I needed feedback from people who were going through my process so that I can elevate my process and get out of my feelings so I can get a bigger bag. Okay. So when I started to do this, I got the same feedback over and over again. And a lot of my brides are basically saying, like, hey, everything was amazing, but I wish that it was less emails. Everything was amazing, but there was just a lot of emails. And I was like, what y'all talking about? But I'm like, when 6 and 8 people are saying the same thing, okay, we need to map something out. So I went back and I counted all of the emails that I was sending to my brides, and it was a lot. Okay. It was honestly a lot. So then I ask myself, how can I condense this conversation into that conversation? How can I eliminate these 3 emails and make it a simpler process? How can I create this and or how can I use this or how can I use this form or this questionnaire or this brochure and really simplify my process? I was a mad scientist with these sticky notes, okay? And I created my bridal beauty sales process so that I can really simplify and elevate my bridal beauty business in a way that was going to keep me out of my back end, keep my brides out of their email, and I can book more brides because I'm not sending so many emails to just one bride. And now my process is a little bit more condensed. So these are some super helpful tips when it comes to how you can start booking more brides in your bridal beauty business. If any of these tips were helpful, definitely let me know down below what was your favorite tip. And just make sure that you go over and follow me over on Instagram at Beauty and the Network. And if you haven't already subscribed, hit that thumbs up so that you can stay tuned for the next time that I have a new video, friend. And also, PS, I'm going to be having a free not workshop but a free masterclass training when it comes to how you can use HoneyBook in an advanced way for your bridal beauty business. So some of the things that I'm going to be talking about is how it would look to create a proposal, how it would look to create a contract, a welcome flow, so that you can start simplifying your back end and really elevating your process and attracting those brides who want to pay high dollars, and you can do that by having a high valued experience on the back end. So if you want to know a little bit more about that, make sure that you go to my show notes down below in the description and you actually sign up for my bridal newsletter that's called Work Less Wednesday. Every single Wednesday or bi-weekly Wednesday, I'm going to be giving you a tip, trick, or strategy to help you work less in your business by talking a little bit about efficient strategies to help you be more productive, condense your days, and how you can do so many things when it comes to elevating a team, yourself, and your income in your business in a way that doesn't require you extending your to-do list. So I cannot wait for you to experience that training when it comes out very, very soon. And by being on that newsletter, you're going to be able to hear it first and sign up and watch it instantly when it comes out. So I hope that you had an amazing time hanging out with me today in this video, and I cannot wait for you to check out my next video. Bye, friends.